everybody.
Good afternoon.
Blessed to have you all gathered for this special occasion. This occasion that has ends a 12-week journey, right? And we will start like we always start traditionally with a acknowledgement to the ancestors and a libation. And I present to you Mr. Dr. David Fakunle, who started with the growing griots when you were about 9 years old?
Sounds about right.
Something like that. All right.
If everybody could just take one deep breath in and out. Let's do another one. Take a deep breath in. Hold it for a little bit. And out. So we're going to take just a couple of minutes to appreciate this moment. This is a beautiful sight. I love these shirts. And they look beautiful on you. To celebrate the power, to celebrate the presence that you all bring. A power and a presence that is necessary now more than ever in this world. As a black man, I need you. As a black community, we need you. As I guess one of the older ones on the younger scale, we need you. But we always take a moment to honor those that allow us to enjoy this moment. Because there was not too long a time ago that even this would be possible. So we must appreciate all that has led to this moment. No matter how big or small it may be in the journey of your life, it's important, okay? So we start by paying homage to the creator that goes by many names. We represent many different belief systems, many different faiths. The creator has been called God, has been called Allah, has been called Jehovah, Jah, Olodumare. Creator acknowledges all names. So the creator, the manifestation of love that allows us to be in this place, that has given us life, that helps us to preserve life, and only ask of us to give love in every way that we can, in our actions, in our words, in our thoughts. We say Ashe.
Ashe.
We say Amen.
Amen.
We say let it be so.
Let it be so.
To our ancestors, those of us, all of us, who are of the African diaspora, we are here in this country not of our own choosing. We are in this country because hundreds of years ago, our ancestors were kidnapped from the continent of Africa, brought to the New World against their will. Despite the unimaginable horror that they endured, they survived. We're talking about displacement, loss of culture, loss of name, loss of language. We're talking about murder. We're talking about rape. We are talking complete disregard for reproductive rights. They endured all of that. And because of their unimaginable strength, we are here. We survive. We continue to fight. So for our ancestors that endured all, that gave all, so that we can be all, we say Ashe.
Ashe.
We say Amen.
Amen.
We say let it be so.
Let it be so.
To our children, you are why we do this. I know that my child is why I do what I do. You are also why I do what I do. The manifestation of a program like this shows that it works. It shows its power, it shows its potential, and it shows the need for all of our kids to engage in something like this. So you all are forebearers. You all are who we can look to say, yeah, we need this. We need to continue to do this. We need to expand this so that every young black girl in Baltimore City can have this opportunity if they so choose. So to you, the forebearers of our revolution, the forebearers that show that, yes, anything is possible with this skin, we say Ashe.
Ashe.
We say Amen.
Amen.
We say let it be so.
Let it be so.
So at this time, I invite you to think of your ancestors. They can be your family members, they can be your friends, your colleagues, your associates, anyone that you love, cherish, respect, appreciate, who is watching up above, who is blessing us with their presence during this ceremony. just take a brief moment to remind them that we love them, that we care about them, we honor their presence, and we miss them. We miss them. We know that we have to keep moving on. That's what life is. Doesn't make it any less hard that they're not here with us. To hear their voice, to see their face, to just call on them when we need a helping hand. We need a word of encouragement, but we know it's in our minds and it's in our hearts. So they never truly go away. So at this time, I invite you to call out their names. Say their names. I say their names. Let them hear you. Say their names. I say their names.
Taylor.
Let them know they miss you. Yes. I say.
RG.
I say.
Green Diggs.
To those names that were said, to those names that were not said, to those names that were on our hearts and in our minds, we thank you for being here with us. We thank you for continuing to guide us. We thank you for continuing to love us, even in the next dimension. To all of you, those from our past, our present, and our future, and for many more to come, we honor you, we thank you, we are indebted to you. Continue to fight for the revolution. The revolution is with you. So to all of you, I say Ashe. I say Amen. I say let it be so. Thank you.
All right, we're going to thank you, David. We want to recognize some guests. First, we would like for Dr. Joanne Martin, President and CEO of the National Great Blacks and Wax Museum, to come forward.
I wrote the grant that made this program possible, and I wrote it from my heart. The actual name of the grant proposal is Steaming Up History with the Growing Griot Girls, and they have on these beautiful shirts the Shero-ology, or the heroism that is in us as women, and that's why I wanted the whole focus to be those innovative pioneers in science, technology, engineering, art, and math to shine through our girls. They need to know our power as women. There is very little that gets done in this country, in this world, without our women. And so to send that message and have them learn stories and show you what they have learned is, for me, a culmination of this effort, and we're just beginning because we want to do this again. We were funded by Wells Fargo, and we have a Wells Fargo representative here, Tracy Horn. So Tracy, could you come up, please? Okay, and Tracy has some words and a presentation.
I do.
Okay. Good.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Amen.
Amen.
And what's left?
Let it be so.
Let it be so. Today I am extremely honored to be here. As Dr. Martin said, I am not just a representative of Wells Fargo, but I am someone who truly believes in everything that Dr. Martin touches, that she is a diamond in the rough, that this location is a treasure for our Black history, and I'm so excited to see with the Shero-ology.
Yeah.
Can I get it right? Y'all were supposed to help me out. Shero-ology. That you all are standing strong and standing tall to be able to represent for our Black history, for the women that are our ancestors, and then you all shall rise forward. So I'm excited that we have our Hartford Heights Elementary School students, as well as our Empowerment Academy students that are here. Because this Cultural Excellence Grant that Dr. Martin has submitted is to make sure that we celebrate the opportunity of you all and your minds being open to the talent and the dreams that may otherwise not be able to happen. So this is for you all. This is because there was the mighty 15, but there now is the solid and steadfast 7, right? Let's give it up for our girls. So with that being said, Dr. Martin, I would like to be able to present a check, and if you don't mind staying up with us, and if we can get the girls to come up too, so that we can share our little check moment. On behalf of Wells Fargo and all that you do and all that you represent and all that you mean in the community, know that what you all are doing is how you all are going to make a difference in Baltimore. So for those and the ancestors that we celebrate today, we will be celebrating you tomorrow. So make sure that you understand what you are here and what you are doing does make a difference. So on behalf of Wells Fargo, we thank you all. And we want to show to the National, can you hold that baby? Go on. From the National Blacks and Wax Museum, $7,534. Let's give it.
This has been an exciting 12-week program, and it wouldn't be possible, and I would want these folks to stand. Miss Ashley Moore, the principal of the Academy Charter School. Wait a minute, you can come up front. We got that kind of, yeah. So we can have evidence, you know. If Miss Danielle Tillman Cromartie, the principal of Harford Heights Elementary Middle School, is here. And if she's not, we'd like to acknowledge that what she did to help this program to move forward. Miss Dolores Winston of the Academy Public Charter School. Miss Winston is unable to be here today because she's dealing with a slight illness. But between Miss Moore, Miss Cromartie, and Miss Dolores Winston, they helped us to solicit 20 families to participate. And we started out with 15 out of that 20, and we ended up with the number that you're going to see here, We have a young lady that will not be performing, but is a part of our program. I want her to come up. Share her name.
My name is Asaya Scott.
She says Asaya Scott, right. Between Miss Cromartie and Miss Moore, they solicited the families, they sent out the requests, they shared with them what the 12-week program would be about. And as I said, we ended up with, and I know this is easy for me to say, one of the finest group of young ladies that I've ever had the pleasure of working with. I thank y'all very much. Thank you. Ms. Bullock, Reba Bullock, come, please. Ms. Bullock provided us with 2 tours of the National Great Blacks in Wax Museum. She specifically, and given our framework of time, we usually start at 3:30, and the bus comes pick us back up at 5:30. We had a bus come from the Empowerment Academy Public Charter School, go over to Harford Heights, and then come over to here. And we then had 2 opportunities to tour the museum. The museum is so exquisite and so full of exhibits to see that we never could take the full time. The second time around, we had Ms. Bullock share with us specifically the black women that were in the National Great Blacks in Wax Museum. Ms. Bullock?
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. If you get to know me, you know that African American history and cultures one of the greatest parts of my life. And for more than 25 years, I've worked with this museum doing training for students in Baltimore City Public Schools or whatever avenue that will help us engage young people in learning more about our culture. And these girls represented just a highlight of my experience with young girls learning and being able to have the female role models in the new museum as statues to help them gain greater knowledge of the kind of expectations they might have for themselves and for others surrounding them. So it was a joy, it's a joy. And as I said, being part of the Blacks in Wax Museum for more than 25 years has been one of the greatest parts of my life. So I appreciate you, I appreciate the parents who allowed your young people to engage with us in all of the parts. And our two leaders today, you walked with me throughout the 2 times. And I never am more fulfilled than engaging young people in understanding our culture. There's so much we need to teach them about who we are, so that they can then, once our time is over, we will have others to take our place and do a great job about our society. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, now, what was really wonderful, again, I shared with you that the 2 principals and other participants helped pull people together. And they were all part of our after-school program. So we were just getting them back to school around 6 o'clock, mostly, for the Empowerment Academy. But here's what was wonderful. And here is what you are going to witness today. And these are mostly 5th graders. Did we have some 4th graders? We may have had it. And we met on Tuesdays and Thursdays, right? And part of our program, and what we really always want to do, not only we wanted to share with them about the contributions that our Black women have made to this culture, to this country. This is a remnant of one of the sponsoring programs, which is the Griot Circle of Maryland's youth program, the Growing Griot Literacy Learning Program. Part of what we do and what we always do with our youth is help them to enhance their literacy skills. Because so many of our youth, we found out through statistics, come out of school functionally illiterate. So we wanted to start there, but we also wanted to start at this place, that so many of our children know nothing about their culture, or they don't know the truth about their culture. So we take it upon ourselves, no matter what programming we be doing, what lesson modules we have, it's all about learning about your culture, learning about your contributions. And we specifically focused on Black women because of the Steaming Up History program and the Growing Griot Girls. So that the program that we will share with you today has to do specifically with Black women. I praise you, Black woman. I praise you. I praise you, Black woman. I praise you. Mother God, she was the first Black woman. I praise you, Black woman. I praise you. I praise you, Black woman. I praise you. Oh, Black Eve, for putting up with Black Adam. I praise you, Black woman. I praise you. I praise you, black woman, I praise you. Mother Africa, birth mother of us all, I praise you, black woman, I praise you. I praise you, black woman, I praise you. The growing Griot girls, a woman, black like me.
Science, medicine, technology, freedom by teacher, Shero-ology. A woman, black like me. A woman, black like me. Science, medicine, technology, freedom by teacher, Shero-ology. A woman, black like me. A woman, black like me. Science, medicine, technology, freedom by teacher, Shero-ology. A woman, black like me. A woman, black like me. Mary Eliza Mahoney. A woman, black like me. Was the first professionally trained and licensed African American nurse in 1879.
Lady Jefferson
A woman, black like me.
was the first African American woman to travel to space. Madam C.J. Walker
A woman, black like me.
was the first African American woman to become a self-made millionaire.
Science, medicine, technology, freedom by teacher, Shero-ology. A woman, black like me. A woman, black like me. Science, medicine, technology, freedom by teacher, Shero-ology. A woman, black like me. A woman, black like me.
Rosa Parks
A woman, black like me.
was the first lady of civil rights.
Ida B. Barnett
A woman, black like me.
played a major role in the anti-lynching crusade in the 1890s. Shirley Chisholm
A woman, black like
was
me.
the first African American woman to be in U.S. Congress.
Science, medicine, technology, freedom by teacher, Shero-ology. A woman, black like me. A woman, black like me. Science, medicine, technology, freedom by teacher, Shero-ology. A woman, black like me. A woman, black like me.
Phyllis Wheatley
A woman, black like me.
was the first African American female published poet.
Sojourner Truth
A woman, black like me.
was best known for her annual women's speech and her equality for all women.
Mary Carter Smith
A woman,
was
black like me.
was Baltimore's official Griot, Maryland's official Griot, and Mother Griot to the National Association of Black Storytellers. Science, medicine, technology, freedom by teacher, Shero-ology. A woman, black like me. A woman, black like me. Science, medicine, technology, freedom by teacher, Shero-ology. A woman, black like me. A woman, black like me.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Jamie Howe. I'm one of the Going Griot girls from Harvard Heights Elementary School. I am so glad that you can be here with us today as we celebrate Women's History Month, but especially the Black women who are in the National Great Blacks and Rags Museum. This is a culminating event known for the Steaming Up History program, Going Griot Girls. Today is my pleasure to introduce you to a student from the Going Griot Literacy Learning Program. She's a black woman. She's a politic and activist and an author. As you know, she's done multiple things. As you hear, she's the unbought and the unbossed. I'll probably introduce you Shirley Chisholm.
Hello and good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
My name is Shirley Chisholm. I was born on November 30th, 1924 in Brooklyn, New York. Both my parents were immigrants, and when I was 3 years old, I went to live with my grandmother Ruby in Barbados. You see, at the time, things were not so good for black people, and my parents wanted me to receive a good education. In 1934, I returned to my parents in New York and attended New York public schools and was able to compete fairly well in a mainly white classroom. This was around the time of the Great Depression, and many Americans were unemployed and had very little to eat. As a good student, I won tuition scholarships to several very distinguished colleges, but was unable to afford room and board. At the urging of my parents, I decided to live at home and attend Brooklyn College. While in college, to earn my master's degree in elementary education, I worked as a nursery school teacher and in a child care center. I believed I could improve society by helping children. I became known as an expert in children and early education and was an education official in the city's Office of Child Welfare. I was removed from the board of directors for speaking against the white leaders. In 1948, I married my first husband, Conrad O. Chisholm, and we lived in Brooklyn. During this period, I developed an interest in politics. I had also developed a deep resentment towards the roles of women in local politics, which meant staying in the background and playing a secondary role to their male equals. Through my work with the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, or the NAACP, I found a way to voice my thoughts and opinions about the traditional roles of women, African Americans, and the poor. In 1968, I was elected to the United States Congress and defeated Republican candidate James Farmer. My campaign slogan was "Unbought and Unbossed." I later wrote a book of the same title to share my experiences in politics. In 1971, I co-founded the Congressional Black Caucus, and we worked towards resolving issues relevant to black people and achieving their equality in the country. In 1972, I ran for the Democratic Party's presidential nomination to contest for presidency. Although I did not win, I managed to get 152 delegates and won the primaries in 3 states. I did not win the primaries or the nominations. I said I did not run for president because I expected to win. I ran to make a point. In 1982, I retired from Congress and continued my teaching career. I wanted to spend more time with my second husband, Arthur Hardwick. In 1987, I retired from teaching altogether. Since then, I have co-founded the National Political Black Women's Congress and helped with the presidential campaign of Jesse Jackson. Although I am a trailblazer as the nation's first black congresswoman and first black presidential candidate, I would rather be remembered as someone who throughout her life continued to work for the rights and equality of African Americans. My name is Shirley Chisholm. Thank you for your time.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I am Mae Jemison. I was born October 17, 1956 in Decatur, Alabama. Later, I love to read, learn, and write. I was very interested in school. Later on in my life, me and my family moved to Chicago. On my first day of kindergarten, they asked me if I wanted to be a scientist. I thought that was a great idea. So I studied, I got people to tell me about it, and I read books. Then, when I thought I was trained enough and I knew a lot, I went to Stanford University at the age of 16 and got an engineering degree. Then I decided to be a doctor, and I learned about that, and I went to Cornell University and got 2 medical degrees. Then, while me being a doctor, I signed up for NASA, known for the National Aeronautics Space Administration, to be an astronaut. And then training program, and they trained me a lot. And then they let me go to space when they thought I was trained enough. I went on the Spaceship Endeavour, becoming the first black woman to travel into space. Don't limit yourself because of other people's limits. I am Mae Jemison.
My name is Madam C.J. Walker. I was born Sarah Breed Love on December 23, 1867 in Delta, Louisiana. I am a businesswoman, hair care entrepreneur, giver to charity, and political and social activist. I created Madam C.J. Walker products because of a scalp element that resulted in my own hair loss. So I invented a line of African-American Negro hair care products in 1905. I promoted my products by sending people around the country, giving people my products, and eventually established the name Madam C.J. Walker Laboratories to manufacture cosmetics and train sales. My business led to me making millions and millions of dollars off of just Negro hair care products. I am also known for making a large donation towards the Indianapolis YMCA in 1913. Don't sit down and wait for opportunities to come. Get up and make them. I am Madam C.J. Walker.
Hello, I am Rosa Parks. I was born February 4th, 1913 in Tuskegee, Alabama. I grew up on a farm in Montgomery with my mother, grandparents, and younger brother. In 1932, I married Raymond Parks. In 1933, I finished my high school studies when less than 7% of Black people had their high school diplomas. One time, I remember getting onto a bus and paying my fare. I then proceeded to my seat, but the driver told me to follow city rules and enter the bus through the back doors. But when I did so, he drove off without me. On December 1st, 1955, I boarded a bus, paid my fare, and sat in an empty seat in the colored section. As the bus traveled, the driver noticed that 2 or 3 white passengers were standing as the front of the bus filled to capacity. So he moved the colored section sign behind me and demanded that we give up our seats. The other 3 Black people gave up their seats, but I did not, which resulted in my arrest. My arrest was so big that on December 4th, 1955, plans for the Montgomery bus boycott were announced. The Montgomery bus boycott was a boycott in Montgomery where lots of Black people, and some white, did not ride the public buses. Instead, they carpooled, rode bikes, and even walked to places they needed to go. At a rally, we decided to continue the boycott until we were expected with the level of courtesy we expected, until Black bus drivers were hired, and until seating at the bus was handled at a first-come basis. Now, just because I was the reason the boycott started doesn't mean I led it. The whole boycott was led by Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. On February 22nd, 1956, I and about 100 other people were arrested while protesting. We decided that the boycott effort needed a name if it were to continue. We agreed on the name Montgomery Improvement Association, also known as MIA. In the end, the boycott lasted for 381 days and ended when the city changed its rules for seating in the public buses. And the rest of my life, as you know, it is history. Racism is still with us, but it is up to us to prepare our children for what they have to meet. And hopefully, we shall overcome. I am Rosa Parks.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
My name is Ida B. Wells Barnett, and I was born in Hollis Spring, Mississippi on July 16, 1862. I am an abolitionist, journalist, and feminist who played a major role in the anti-lynching crusade in the 1890s, and I am a founding member of the NAACP. I started my anti-lynching crusade because a few of my friends were lynched because they owned a grocery store across the street from some white men. The white men began to get jealous and they came over to my friend's store. Of course, my friends got arrested, and during the night, a mob of people came and lynched my friends. Lynching is not just being hanged, it's being brutally murdered. I enjoy writing letters, and I wrote my own newspaper. I also wrote a letter to Frederick Douglass about lynching and the horrors of it. Until one day when they burned down my office because I was writing so much in the newspaper. It threatened my life and I had to move away. One day, on my way to work, I sat on the train and I paid my fare until the conductor asked me to move. I did not move, but the other black people moved. It took 4 to 5 minutes to get me out of my seat. After that, I took that case to court. And I also was an educator for kids in my community because I see the lack of education. Don't judge a woman by the color of her skin, but by the size of her heart. I am Ida B. Wells Barnett. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Phyllis Wheatley, and I was the first enslaved female to become a published poet. I will tell you guys a little story about how that happened. I was born in 1753 in West Africa. On July 11, 1761, I was sold to a slave trader who took me to Boston on a ship called the Phyllis. When we arrived, I was resold to a wealthy Boston merchant and tailor named John Wheatley. I was his wife, Susanna's servant. They named me Phyllis after the ship and Wheatley because I belonged to them. One day, my owners noticed that I had an interest in learning, so their daughter and son taught me how to read and write. At the age of 14, in 1767, I wrote my first poem, which I titled To the University of Cambridge in New England. In 1768, I wrote the poem To the King's Most Excellent Majesty, which I praised King George III for repealing the Stamp Act. In 1770, I wrote a poetic tribute to the evangelist George Whitefield, which received widespread acclaim. With the 1773 publication of my book, Poems on Various Subjects, I became the most famous enslaved female face on the earth. Through thickest gloom, look back, a mortal shade on confusion which thy death has made. I am Phyllis Wheatley.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. My name is Sojourner Truth. I was born in 1797. When I was 9 years old, I was sold for $100 to a slave owner. In 1815, I fell in love with a man named Robert, but my slave owner made me marry a man named Thomas, and we had 13 children. Later on, my slave owner promised me that soon he would set me free. In 1827, he did not fulfill that promise, so I had escaped. I got my name, Sojourner Truth, from sojourning around the country and always telling the truth. I told the truth about women's rights. I told the truth about slavery. That's how I became an abolitionist and an activist. One day, I was invited to the Women's Rights Convention where I said my famous Ain't I a Woman speech. This is what I said there. That man over there says women need to be helped in the carriages, lifted over ditches, and are the best place everywhere. But I have never been helped in the carriages, carried over mud puddles, or have the best place everywhere. And ain't I a woman? Look at me. Look at my arm. I have planted and plowed and carried in the barns, and no man can have me. And ain't I a woman? I can eat as much and work as hard as any man. And when I can get it, I can take the lash off of it. And ain't I a woman? I have borne 13 children. And see, most of them sold off into slavery. And when I cried out for mother's grief, none but Jesus heard me. And ain't I a woman? I'm Sojourner.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Mary McLeod Bethune. I was born July 10, 1875 in Maysville, South Carolina. I was the 14th of 17 children, so naturally, I was born to take care of myself and others. Now, my family was huge. My mother worked in the homes of white people, cleaning their homes, washing their clothes, watching their children, and my father and some of my brothers still worked out on the field. Now, some days my mother would take maybe one or two of us out of the house with her, and we'd go to work with her, and we'd look around the house and we'd say, wow, these big grand pianos and these huge windows with these long mahogany tables and these happy children that just run around and had no worries in the world. And every time I went there, it was like an adventure. And, you know, as a young girl, we all like to help our mothers. We want to just be just like them when we get older. So every time I'd go with my mother to work, we'd look at these clothes, and I would wash the house and clean the floor and fold the clothes and wash them, and it was the same routine all the time. And sometimes I just get so bored that I just wander off, and my mother would look up and I was nowhere to be found. I was all over the house just looking at everything, the chandeliers in the ceiling, the big windows, the beautiful white curtains, the long linen tablecloths. Everything about the house was just so new and fresh to me. Every time I went over their house, it was like an adventure. This one day I was just looking around, and I stumbled down this hallway, and I peeped into this room that had the door cracked just a little bit, and I could see these toys that I had never seen before. There were wooden trucks, wooden trains, these big books with these big bold words, and there's so much color all around, and I just couldn't help myself. So I went in and I saw this one huge book, and I started feeling on the cover of the book, and I was looking at the letters, but I just couldn't figure out what the letters were saying. So I just rubbed my hand over the cover, and somehow I opened up the book and I started fiddling with the pages. And I looked, and there was more words every page that I flipped, and I just couldn't understand it, but I was starting to get a hang of it. I was sounding out words and letters and trying to make things sound right. And I was kind of getting a hang of it, just flipping and flipping. And out of nowhere, one of the white kids came and snatched the book out of my hand. And he looked at me, he said, "Negro, what's wrong with you? You don't need to learn how to read. You're a Negro. You ain't never going to be nothing." And I looked at him, and I was just so confused, and no one had ever talked to me like that. I had never experienced something like that before. And it left me so distraught. And that day when we were walking home, I didn't say much to my mother. I didn't say much to my sister. I just kept walking with my head down. I just couldn't figure out why would he would say something like that to me. And that day my parents asked me, they said, "Mary, what's wrong with you?" And I just broke down and told them, I said, "That one white kid, he told me that I would never learn to read, and I didn't need to read because I would never be nothing." And I just broke down, and I told my parents that I just couldn't believe he said that to me. That was not the way that I wanted to live. I wanted to learn how to read like them. I wanted to be smart like them. I wanted to grow old like them. I wanted to be strong like them. And I just told my parents, I said, "Please, just please put me into school so that I can learn, I can read, I can write." And that's exactly what my parents did. The first school I ever attended was called Scatia Seminary School. Now, Scatia Seminary School was a Christian school. So, of course, I learned about God. I learned about the disciples, the Bible. I learned how to read, how to write. I learned what these letters meant, what sounds they could make. And every day I came to school, I was learning something new. And my love for education grew stronger and stronger every day. I loved school from the time I stepped into the doors to the time I left. Now, as I got older, I started to think about what I'd do in life as I got older. Would I continue my education? Would I move on to something else? Would I clean homes like my mother? I didn't know what I'd do. Would I just be a housewife? Things just always came to my mind, and I never knew what I'd actually be. So school finally closed, and I was thinking about, okay, I went to a seminary school, and I learned about God. I learned about the Bible. Maybe I'll go to Africa and do missionary work. I mean, after all, I've learned so much about the Bible and how wonderful God is, how wonderful Jesus is, everything he's done for us. I said maybe I can take everything I've learned, go to Africa, and help other people realize that Christianity is what brings us through, and let them know that my faith is real and that they can have the same faith as well. So I got ready, I packed my things, I was on my way to Africa, and it was just like God came over me, and I had this realization that this is not what I want to do. I don't want to go to Africa and spread the word of the Lord. And I realized, I said, this is not for me at all. I want to pursue education. I want to be able to bless other people the way I was blessed. I want to teach other Negro kids how to read, how to write. Everything that I learned at Scatia Seminary School, I want to pass on. And that's exactly what I did. So I went back to Scatia Seminary School, and I became a teacher. I taught all types of students, and I made sure that everything that I knew, I gave to them. All the long hours, the long days, everything I knew, I was trying to give to my young students because I knew what it felt like to be told that you wouldn't be anything, and I never wanted these young Negro students to feel like that ever. So every day I tried and I gave them everything I could, and along the way I had this one coworker and she was wonderful. We both shared the same passion. We both wanted to educate young Negro women. Together, we both came up with the idea that if we educated Negro women, we'd have better women in society, better Negro women who could stand up for themselves and be independent. So I took that dream along with love, faith, and passion, and my belief, and I moved to Daytona Beach, Florida. When I moved to Daytona Beach, Florida, I took all of that passion and love and my belief in God, and I opened up a school. Now, I know some of you are thinking, how did I open up a school? And I'm just an educator, not a construction worker. So I took what I knew best, and that was how to give back to people. I didn't have much money after my move, so in order to build up my one-room schoolhouse, I had to give food to my construction workers. So in exchange for them building up my school, I'd give them food every single day. Now, the food only got me so far, just the school, but where would my students sit? They had nowhere to sit, nothing to write with, nothing to read, so I had to make do with the resources that were around me. I'd look and I'd get elderberries and I'd use that as ink. I'd get burnt wood as pencils. And then sometimes at the white schools and the dumpsters, if I was lucky, they would throw out old textbooks, and sometimes I found crates and boxes. Now the crates and boxes were our desks and chairs, and the old textbooks we would use all the time. But I had to be very careful, because if the white people found out that I was using their old textbooks to educate Negro children, they probably wouldn't even throw it out anyway. So I had to creep around and get as many materials as possible for my Negro girls. Now I only had 6 students, but between those 6 students and myself, we were unstoppable. I tried to teach them everything that I could. Now, you know what they say. When people see you doing better for yourself, they get very jealous. And some of those people happen to be a part of the Ku Klux Klan. Now they come and they threaten us, and they come to the window I was teaching and say that they would burn the place down. But I never thought they'd actually try to burn my school down. And that's exactly what they did. Every single time they burnt the school down, they threatened me and tell me, if you open up again, we're gonna burn it down. And every time they did, I built it right back up. And I guess they realized, they're like, Mary's very persistent. I think we should stop now. And eventually, they left me and my girls alone. Now, a lot of my work got noticed by a lot of people in politics, in the government, and they were realizing, wow, Mary McLaughlin is really trying to educate these Negro women. And a lot of people felt the same way, so they were gravitated towards my passion. One of those people happens to be our president, Theodore Roosevelt. Mr. Roosevelt felt that the way that I was engaging with the Negro community and population was very interesting, so he appointed me as the advisor of his Negro cabinet. Now, a lot of people wonder what I did in the Negro cabinet. Well, I helped with housing, jobs, and better opportunities in society. Also, as I continued to work with the president, I got very, very close with his wife, Eleanor Roosevelt. We were like best friends. We were like this, guys. Now, we worked together all the time. I started talking to Eleanor Roosevelt, and I realized we shared the same passion. We didn't really like how women were so oppressed in society by these men, especially not Negro women. So we both worked together. We founded several organizations, one of which happened to be the Negro Council of Women, which was so famous because Eleanor Roosevelt's name was attached to it. So we were able to help thousands of Negro women get better jobs, better housing, better opportunities, better benefits for their families. I just wanted to help make sure Negro women were starting off with a good foot in society so that we could kind of get away from our past in America. Now, we continue to work and have several organizations that helped us to bring all of the Negro women together, help unify our people. There are a lot of things in my life that are considered valuable, but there are a few things that I leave you that are from my heart. I leave you love. I leave you hope. I leave you faith. I leave you a thirst for education. I leave you the desire to work with one another as one body in Christ. My name is Mary McLeod, and that is my last will and testament.
I would like all the growing Griot girls and the presenters to come forward, please. Now. These young ladies are growing Griot girls and members of the
Growing Griot Literacy Learning
Program.
And then Jada, who we've had for
That's
4
right.
years.
That's right.
And all I have to do is say, Jada, I need you too. And she will do. Yeah.
What is really remarkable about the Growing Griot girls was that they did their research, their practice, their preparation. They get an assignment on Tuesday, and have to come prepared on Thursday. And they did it while they were all in school on Wednesday, no matter what assignment that they had. This was so remarkable. This was not easily done. I would like y'all to give a great big hand to the growing Griot girls. And we thank each and every body that was involved. We thank Ms. Bullock for the tours. We thank the Hartford Heights Elementary School. We thank the Empowerment Academy Public Charter School. We thank our brother, Dr. David Fakunde. We thank everybody involved. We thank you for all that you give us. We thank the parents. We thank the parents for letting their children be involved, for understanding what they were carrying with them. We really thank you. We thank the Wells Fargo Excellence Grant. We thank you, each and every one of you. And we have something to present to them. First of all, you see the Shero-ology shirts. You know, I want to say one thing. It's a choir poem. What would you call it? The song was created and adapted by Dr. She has 2 children that were all growing griots. Both of them are doctors. One is a medical doctor.
That's a cool back there.
That's right. And the other is a PhD doctor. Right.
So I gave myself an honorary doctorate degree. Okay. And I was told that it comes from the from Grandma College, the University of the Ancestors. Is where it comes from. So I accepted it.
I'd like to introduce you to our choreographer. That's right. We have certificates of
Achievement.
achievement. We have certificates of achievements to give to the young ladies for their 12-week program. We also have for them 35 community learning service hours for their participation. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? Let me do this first. Gotta hold the ball.
But it's fine. Now I'm Anaya.
Jamie?
IA, aka ST. You know what ST is? Surgery no screw.
Here's what I forgot to do. I would like each one of you to introduce yourselves. Come on. Your real names. Oh, right.
I am Shero-ology. Oh,
What grade, what school?
okay.
What grade?
I am Shero-ology. I go to the Empowerment Academy and I am in the 6th grade.
Right.
Hi people, my name is Anaya Hall. Oh dang. My name is Anaya Hall. I am 10 years old and I attend the Empowerment Academy. Fifth grade.
I am
I am that way all the time.
I am Amber Lisa. I'm in the 5th grade.
I am Sanaa Whitley. I go to Empowerment Academy and I'm in 5th grade.
My name is Nia Freeman. I go to the Empowerment Academy and I'm in the 5th grade.
My name is Kristen Parker. I'm in the 5th grade. I'm 11 years old and I attend the Empowerment Academy.
My name is Jamie Howe. I go to Hawk Heights Elementary School. I am 10 years old and I'm in the 4th grade.
My name is Asaya Scott. I go to Harvard Heights Elementary School and I am in the 4th grade.
I am your one and only Naomi Reed. I'm in 5th grade and I'm homeschooled, so my mom is my teacher. Love you.
I'm the oldest here. My name is Jada Anderson and I'm a junior at Poly.
Being a City College graduate, I forgive it. But it's just so wonderful. Again, thank you for your time. The technicians, I would like to introduce them, especially the boys and the mother who homeschool, because they are a part of the Growing Griot Literacy Learning Program. That's right. Yeah. Right.
Hello, my name is Alex Reed. I am homeschooled. I am 9 years old and I am in 4th grade. Hello everyone, my name is Xavier Reed. I am 13 years old and I am in 7th grade.
Hello, my name is Arset. I'm the homeschool mom. And I'm out of school. Thank you.
This is the last thing that, as we have shared with these young ladies, not only do we appreciate the work that they have given, but we let them know that starting next October, that they will have an opportunity to join the Growing Griot Literacy Learning Program. It's a 25-week program that starts in October, ends in May, and it's on Saturday. And the particular program is housed in the Orleans Street branch of the Enoch Pratt Free Library. It is one of the programs that is co-sponsored by the National Great Blacks in Wax Museum. Every February, the last Saturday in February, our youngsters do a presentation like you experienced today. You can share that with possible students that you know, and or if you lose a little sight of it, remember that you can come up here in July to our street fair, and you will be able to get all the information you need about the Growing Griot Literacy Learning Program. Once more, would you give a hand to the Growing Griot girls? Thank you very much for your participation, because that is the end of that story.